Greetings, folks. Welcome back to the program. It's Chris in Central Pennsylvania. The News24 platform in South Africa has gone to great effort to unmask the ex-Boer, the farmer in quotes, who helped influence Trump's view of South Africa. Once again, it's comical to see this sort of assertion without any evidence. The fact that Trump retweeted something doesn't mean he was influenced to make decisions. That's an assumption on the part of News24 and Kyle Cowan specifically. What purports to be investigative journalism is a mix of rank opinion and harassment, quite frankly. But it does qualify as investigative journalism. Now, he claims the true cost of disinformation spread by Twatterbaas will only be known in years to come. Kyle Cowan. He says Trump's executive order and a subsequent meeting in the White House between him and President Ramaphosa have shown a clear tendency by Trump to believe blatant disinformation is fact. Now, that is hyperbole. That is supposition. It is not supported by the truth. Kyle Cowan clearly doesn't know anything about the U.S. intelligence community or the U.S. policy establishment or how policy is formulated. He's making assumptions based on his opinion, which are about as valuable as the next person's opinion. He says there's a clear link between USTA, Musk, and Trump, coupled with the policy stance taken on South Africa by the president's administration, meant it was no longer simple internet trolling from an anonymous account. He said significant criticism from Musk and other Trump supporters is perceived discrimination against Afrikaners and white farmers. This view is no longer confined to the toxic social media debates. And this is where he loses the plot entirely. Not only has Trump cut off aid funding and hit South Africa with crippling tariffs, but he has also effectively halted all immigration into the U.S. except for Afrikaners, a group he has claimed are being persecuted and murdered and their land arbitrarily seized by a complicit and racist government. Let's go back to the beginning of that paragraph. Not only has Trump cut off all aid and funding to South Africa, well, Trump cut off all aid and funding to South Africa because you have a criminal regime that has violated Section 25 of South Africa's Constitution, and you have a president who intentionally sat on a bill that he had already signed and waited 34 days after he signed it to sign it with a flare at Davos, pretending that's the day he signed it, thereby effectively skirting the South African Constitution and avoiding the possibility for one-third of the members of Parliament to sign a petition to go directly to the Constitutional Court to determine the constitutionality of this piece of legislation. Disingenuous, fraudulent conduct on the part of South Africa's government and its president. So South Africa's abrogation of private property rights, which is a key component of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, of which South Africa is a signatory, and also was a participant in the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which required countries to protect private property rights. Expropriation without compensation is why Trump cut off aid, not because of Twatterbaas. And to make such a claim is asinine, uninformed, juvenile, and frankly, dumb as can be. Trump cut off our $400+ million of give me handouts to South Africa because of the actions of the government in being duplicitous and dishonest and harming the human rights of South Africans. He said, hit South Africa crippling tariffs. What does Twatterbaas have to do with tariffs South Africa? Not a damn thing. It shows you the ignorance of the analysis in this op-ed portion of this so-called investigation by Kyle Cowan. Trump hit 90 countries with tariffs. Why? Because they're cheating the United States. For example, Europe has a 10% tariff on our automobile imports to the European Union. Even though we don't import to the European Union, we import to individual countries. Then each country slaps a value-added tax. We charge 2.5% for European cars to come in. No reciprocity whatsoever. No reciprocity. An American-made Chrysler or an American-made Jeep, an American-made Cadillac sent to Europe costs as much as 39% more than the same car in the States to a consumer. Why? Because of corrupt European politics that cheat the Americans. South Africa imposes 75% tariffs against our poultry imports. South Africa imposes quotas on our automobiles to export into South Africa, while they let the Chinese flood the market with their cars. This is why South Africa got hit with tariffs. It's barriers, real, artificial, and policy positions that harm U.S. exports to South Africa and its protectionist measures. While we gave you duty-free access to our economy for 25 years, you hit us with tariffs, quotas, and artificial barriers to keep our products out in a protectionist economy. That's why you have tariffs. It has nothing to do with Twatterbaas. And to claim it does is just bogus and fraudulent. And this is the kind of journalism or investigative analysis that News24 does all the time. It's just crap. He says he also effectively halted all immigration to the United States. That's bullshit too. People are immigrating to the United States. What are you talking about? That's a lie. There's no halt to immigration in America. We naturalize Americans every single day in this country during the work week. Every single day. All over the country. We naturalize 700,000, 900,000 foreign nationals as Americans every day. Or every year, every year. We naturalize 700,000, 900,000 Americans every year, including in the first Trump administration. Trump hasn't halted immigration. This is the ramblings of an uninformed so-called journalist. If you're trying to say Trump has stopped refugee relocation to America, except for Afrikaners, you'd be partially correct, because it's not just Afrikaners, it's coloreds and Indians too. This is just garbage. A group he has claimed are being persecuted and murdered. Well, Afrikaners, coloreds and Indians and whites, English-speaking South Africans, are being persecuted by 145 race-based laws, just to start there. And Trump has claimed that their land is arbitrarily seized by a complicit racist government. No, but with a tacit approval and lack of action by the government, has the responsibility to protect landowners. They sit back in Shisheho while people carve land up and hand out land parcels and sell them illegally.
So the community members took it upon themselves to come here to invade this land, to build shacks, and also to demarcate stands for themselves.
They sit back while the police are complicit in Eastern Cape, selling other people's land to land occupiers. They sit by while land is occupied in Northwest. In the past, the government has intervened, but not anymore, unless it's on state-owned land. So land is being arbitrarily seized by a complicit government in the fact that it's not taking action to protect landowners. So I'm sorry, Mr. Cowan. Your article has no reality here. It's ridiculous. Then he writes this with a straight face. He said, there are no laws or actions by the government dedicated to targeting Afrikaners, but there are laws seeking to redress the societal and economic imbalances that are the legacy of apartheid. So he says there's no laws, and then he lies about it, and then in the next sentence, the subclause of the sentence, he admits that there are laws intentionally attacking Afrikaners. Who are you seeking redress from? The aforementioned Afrikaners? 60% of whom were born after apartheid, publishing people who've only ever lived under ANC racist rules for the crime of their skin color? Because they're white, they should be punished and denied bursaries to go to university. They should be pushed into punity and poverty because of your racist laws. You justify that? Kyle Cowan, you claim that there's nothing that's attacking Afrikaners? And for that matter, coloreds and Indians. And don't tell me that coloreds and Indians are covered by BE, because it's nonsense. They're also excluded. You just put them in the law and you ignore it. So if you want to play this silly game about redress, how about restitution for the Retief family? Remember Dingani? What about those murdered at Wien and Blaukrans? Or the depredations of Mzilikazi and Ndebele in the Highveld, who were only chased out of the country and back over the Limpopo River by a concerted effort and combined operations of Trekboers and the Griquas and the Tswana speakers and the Basuto peoples working together to chase Mzilikazi and Ndebele out of South Africa. How about restitution for those people? Now, he also says that Twatterbaas's post also contained the clues that led to his identification. With assistance from open source investigators, News24 was able to track Houston down by geolocating satellite images he posted of an old family farm and cross-referencing publicly available deeds office records. Okay, good job. So why are you using quotations when you're describing him as a farmer? If you only found him because of a family farm. If he was on the farm and he was a farmer, then how are you claiming he's not a farmer? Folks, this isn't journalism. It purports to be investigative journalism, but it's got more holes in it than Swiss cheese. The assumptions, the rank falsehoods, the distortions about why tariffs were applied to South Africa. I mean, how does this even pass for journalism? Where is Adrien Basson, or who's responsible for this? Peter Dutoy? Who's his editor? Who is his editor? You need to start editing. And when you have a journalist that brings you a story, ask for the facts. Show me the facts that South Africa got tariffs placed on it because of Twatterbaas. That's just speculation. It's rank speculation. There's no evidence of that, and there never will be evidence of it, because it has nothing to do with Twatterbaas. He hasn't influenced Trump. Trump retweets all kinds of things. It doesn't mean he makes decisions based on that. That is juvenile. That is not investigative journalism. That is supposition. Supposition. What say you, South Africa? Mzansi? Cheers.